it's Lauren with Bargain Bead Box. Today we are making a super fun 3-piece magnetic mix and match set. This set uses magnetic clasps to allow you to configure the 3 pieces in a ton of different ways. It's super great. We're going to be using February's bead box. This will be our final February tutorial. Starting next week, we'll be working with March's beads. Let's get started. All right, so we are using the rose quartz nuggets from the box, the 4mm crystal rounds, the 6x4mm crystal rondelles, the bead caps, your flower filigree focal, and one of the brass filigree teardrop components as well. So that's everything from the box. Now, the things that are not from the box that I'm using today are some 7-strand gold finish tigertail wire, some 4mm jump rings, ring 132 at the Bead Box Bargain Store. You're going to want 3 pieces total if you're going to make the whole set of magnetic clasps. I'm using TOG 698. You can use whatever you want. It's just important that the 3 match. I'm using some gold clamshell bead clamps, find 2134 at the store. And I'm using some crimp beads, find 1105 at beadboxbargains.com. Finally, we also have some head pins. Pin 538, and you can use any kind you like. I like the little ball head pins. They just add a little something to this design. It's kind of fun. All right, so to start out, I've cut about 24 inches of tigertail wire. And I am just gonna go ahead and finish off one end of it. I'm gonna do a clamshell bead tip and a crimp bead. And then I'm just gonna squish this crimp bead real quick. There we go. With my crimping pliers, gonna use that interior folding crimper first, and then I'll kind of fold it in half just to make sure it's crimped really well. And this one doesn't have to be pretty, I just want to make it really secure. It's about to be covered up with the bead tip. I'm gonna fold it in half, and I'm going to use my non-serrated pliers to give it a gentle squeeze. I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to dent it, just get it nice and shut there. All right, we're ready to start stringing. So my goal for this is to have kind of a boho feel by not having an exact pattern. I'm going to do some spacer beads, and I'm going to alternate in my pattern between having a rose quartz pebble enclosed by bead caps and having a crystal rondelle. So I'm going to start out with the rose quartz pebble, and the pebbles on most of these strands, you'll have some that are rounder and some that are flatter. I like to use the more rounded ones for the bead cap part, and the flatter pebbles are perfect for other places in this design when we use both kinds. Just wanted to throw that out there and make you aware. So let's see. Yeah, so actually what I'm going to do is the one that's enclosed, I'm going to put at the back. So that's going to be my rose quartz pebble. I'm going to put a rose quartz pebble at the back of each segment. Then I'm going to do a couple other spacers in between, alternating between using these gold spacers. Oh, and I may not have called those out. I am also using Space 1416 from Bead Box Bargains. I love these little gold spacer beads. Sorry about that. That was the other thing you will need. And I'm going to then put the opposite bead, the bead that is not in bead caps in this portion of the design, up closer to the end. So, okay, I think I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna go ahead and string. So we're gonna do 4mm. And since this is a sort of boho design, part of my goal is to make every bit of this, I'm gonna actually switch these, every bit of this a little bit tiny, like a little bit of variation in the pattern. I don't want it to be a set, you're gonna do this bead and then you're gonna do that bead. We're just going for coordinating, like enough coordination that it makes your eyes happy and it looks cohesive, but each little segment is gonna be its own thing. All right, so here we go. And we are, first of all, we're gonna make a triple wrap bracelet that can also function as a necklace. So I'm just, you see I've got the rose quartz outside of the bead cap here, a couple little spacers, another little spacer, and then the crystal rondelle gold spacer bead, and then the rose quartz inside bead cap. So now I'm gonna switch it up, and I'm gonna start with the opposite bead that I ended with spacer wise. So I'm going to start with a mint crystal, and then I'm going to do the crystal rondelle. I'm going to do a gold spacer. I'm going to do let's see, which one do I like? I'm going to do a rose quartz pebble next. We'll do this one. A rose quartz pebble, and then a green spacer, and then I'm going to do a crystal rondelle inside the bead caps. So that's what I'm going to do next. And we're going to keep going afterwards with this pattern, and we're just going to kind of alternate those two segments, the segment with the purple crystal in bead caps and the segment with the rose quartz in bead caps. And it's just going to be kind of a fun, sort of similar but not identical pattern each time. Okay, so here we go. This is the basic pattern segment. So because we just used the purple crystal, that means we're going to do a rose quartz bead next. So we're going to do an uncapped rose quartz after we do a spacer. I'm going to use a gold spacer, and then a quartz bead. And now I'm going to do a green bead because we haven't done one of those for a second. And maybe another gold. We're just kind of mixing it up here. And then a crystal rondelle. And then a green again. And then we'll do the rose quartz nugget enclosed with bead caps. We're just going to keep repeating this until it gets long enough to wrap around my wrist 3 times. Keep in mind that the clasp will add anywhere from a 1/2 inch to 1 inch depending on how big of a clasp you're using. But with a wrap bracelet, you want to have a little extra length anyway. So I'm using, my wrist is about 7 inches, so I've cut 24 inches because that is triple my wrist length plus some extra. So if you have an 8-inch wrist, I would probably cut at least 26, 27 inches. And just, yeah, triple your wrist length and then add a little extra to have something to work with. So, and this is an easily adaptable pattern. It's definitely, as you can see, it's not going to be super exact. It's not going to be like you have to put this bead here. We're just doing some alternating. Basically, it's some kind of spacer, then some kind of chunky bead, whether it's a crystal or rose quartz, and then a couple more spacers, the other kind of chunky bead, another spacer, and then the first kind of chunky bead again in bead caps. And we're just going to repeat that until we have all of this strung up. So here goes. And you can absolutely do this however you want. Again, so we just use a rose quartz in caps, which means the next segment's going to have a purple in bead caps. So we're going to put purple closer to the beginning of this segment. And now I'm going to do a little green. And then, let's see. Now we're going to do another rose quartz pebble. And use a small one this time. That one's cute. And then another spacer. And now we'll do our purple crystal in the bead caps. And it's just going to continue in that like semi pattern until we're all filled up. So until it is ready to go around your wrist 3 times. All right, so I've got just about enough where I think it'll go around my wrist comfortably 3 times. Especially keeping in mind the clasp will add a little bit more. And you can see we've just done this alternating semi pattern all the way up, where you have the crystal and bead caps, you have some spacers, and then you have the rose quartz in bead caps. And I really love all of the different shapes and shades of rose quartz and how these nuggets make this feel just so unique and varied. It's really fun. Now it's time to finish it off. I'm gonna add 1 more spacer. I just like to overshoot rather than undershoot these things. A little loose bracelet is better than one you can't get on. And I'm going to fold open this clamshell so that I can really get the crimp bead right up against it to close. And I'm going to string on 1 more crimp bead. All right, and now I'm just going to crimp this And again, you don't want to like push all the way up and pull so hard that there's no movement at all. You want it to feel a little more relaxed, but you don't want to have a ton of give in your cord either. And one thing I always like to do when I'm working with wire is just make sure it hasn't got any gaps in it. Looks good, so we'll go ahead and squish this guy. And now we will fold it over. Again, this is more for the purposes of securing it. We're not really super worried about making it look pretty. It is about to be covered up forever. So, yeah. Just trying to get it good and squished. It's a little hard working right next to that there. Okay, here we go. There we go. That's not going anywhere. Yeah, that feels really secure. All right, I'm gonna trim off the end. And I'm gonna fold the clamshell back up, try to line it up as well as I can. If it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, that looks good though. Okay, now it's time to add our magnet clasp, which we will be attaching with jump rings. So here we go. Use my little jump ring tool here, my way oversized grippy pliers, because I have bad wrists and I like big pliers. All right, here we go. Open that up, slide in the clasp, and do I need to open it up more? Nah, I got this. There we go. Bead tip. And now we just gotta close it. I'm gonna use my smaller pliers for this because it's a little tougher to get lined up here otherwise. Here we go. All right, that looks good. And we're just gonna repeat that over here. So this is our first segment. This can be worn as a triple wrap bracelet or as a simple necklace or as parts of a larger necklace. And we will be assembling the focal piece of that larger necklace next. All right, let's try that on real fast. Make sure it will work as a bracelet. Beautiful, look at that. That's so fun. And it's got a nice magnetic clasp. It's not too tight. You're not gonna cut off circulation. That's really fun. All right, let's assemble our next piece. So we are going to make our focal. The first step is to remove the bottom piece on this chandelier. I love it. It's great for a lot of things, but with this particular design, I'm gonna save it and use it for something else. So these are open rings. You can just swing them out. They're not soldered shut. And then you can pop it off. Like I said, this is a lovely piece. I'm bending it up a little bit, but it can be rebent. There we go. And you can absolutely use it for a future thing. And I'm just gonna, there we go. All right. Okay, so we've got our little flower centerpiece. And what we're gonna do is we're going to attach some dangles on the teardrop here. We're going to attach it at this point, and then we're going to have two varying lengths coming off of the top of this flower, which will have magnet clasps on the end, so they can attach right to the necklace piece that we just made if you want to wear it as a longer necklace. So let's go ahead and make our dangles here. And I'm going to do, let's see, I think I'm going to do a spacer, and then a teal crystal, and then another spacer for over here. I think for the middle, I'm just gonna do a nice, let me find one that I really like. I'll do a nice pink rose quartz with a teal crystal on top. And then for the other side, we will do a gold bead, and then a purple crystal rondelle, and then another gold spacer bead. Or maybe it doesn't need the gold spacer bead at the bottom. I want it to be a little bit varied. Let's see here. Yeah, ooh, I have an idea. Let's put a bead cap on top of it instead. I like that. Look a little different. Yes, I like that. All right. And I'm just gonna do some very simple little loops here. You can absolutely wrap this up, make it look fancy if you want. This is gonna be a forever long tutorial since we're doing 3 pieces. So I'm just gonna do a quick loop where you trim down that head pin, and then we're just gonna pop it open, swing it open, and just string it through there, and then pull it back down to shut. And if you've never made loops with head pins before, I will work on adding new tutorials specifically for that. Right now, again, we've got a lot going on with this piece, and we're a little short of time, but just a quick demonstration. Trim it down. We're gonna wrap it around that round nose plier with a twisting motion away from me. I'm gonna straighten it up a little bit here, which makes it look like that. And then I'm just gonna close it the rest of the way. And when I've got it where I like it, I'm gonna swing it open, thread this through, and swing it back down. All right, and last one. Like I said, there are 1,000,001 ways to do loops. Oh, it's a little longer than I want. There we go. I am doing the bare bones, super simple here today. But you can do whatever you like. Do some pretty wire wrapping if you want to. Okay. And now we're just gonna, yeah, I like that because you've got 3 different lengths, different looks. Feels kind of boho. That's fun. Now we're just going to attach it to the base loop, and this is going to be the loop that does not stick out as much. These 2 are each on top of a petal. This is between the petals. And I'm just going to open this back up, see if I can do it with my round nose, or if I need to grab my chain nose again. And if you're working with softer, like gold-filled or sterling jump rings, I like to use more gentle pliers with them. You can get either like nylon coated or the flat nose, but nope, wrong one, Lauren. There we go. But for these brass or stainless steel ones that are pretty resilient, I'm not as worried about them marking up, and chain nose pliers get a much better grip for me, so I just like using chain nose pliers. There we go. I think I put that on backwards, guys. Yep, I sure did. One moment. Yeah, so it does slightly matter with the filigree. Yep, there we are. Oh, goodness. I feel like it doesn't matter how long I make jewelry, I always end up redoing something somewhere. All right. Much better. Look at that. There we go. There's our focal piece. So now I'm going to take 2 small pieces of tigertail, and I'm just going to do, I think I'm going to do them different lengths because I want, essentially the magnet clasp will make like a nice little round ball in the design, and I want them to be at different places along the strand to kind of just emphasize that boho feel. This is not a symmetric piece. This is very asymmetric. And yeah, we're gonna see how that turns out. So I'm just gonna cut a little more wire, and essentially I'm just gonna do exactly what I did a moment ago, but twice and in smaller segments. So here we go. I'm gonna cut this wire after I unspool absolutely all of it. Stay. Thank you. All right, so this side, oh, there's a crimp in my wire. Probably because I just dropped it. There we go. This side, I'll probably do about like that. So a little extra. There we go. This side I'll do a little shorter. Okay, and I'm gonna get both of these ready just with a clamshell bead tip and a crimp bead. Be real quick. Okay, so now I'm just gonna do a shorter version of the semi pattern that we did a moment ago. I think I'll start with a green crystal, and then let's see, let's do these, another green crystal, do a little pink bit there, and then we will put a purple crystal inside bead caps. All right, so we'll start out that way, and then we'll do the inverse pattern with the rose quartz inside the bead caps. Trying to talk and bead at the same time. Here we go. And this is going to be much shorter. I might repeat this pattern 3 times, like the full thing. I may not even have room for that. We'll see. Okay, so now I'm going to do a green bead followed by, let's get a nice little mauve. This one's pretty. Mauve rose quartz with gold. And then let's do a green on each side of this. Like that. And then we will find a nice rounder rose quartz to put inside bead caps. I like this one. This one good with bead caps on it. Gonna move our focal out of the way here. And I think that'll be good. And this piece is gonna clip in sort of with magnet clasps, so it will connect to that nice long bracelet and or necklace piece you made a moment ago. It's gonna be fun. It feels so satisfying too, just the way the magnet clasps kind of jump together when you're mixing and matching it. I will say one note, if with magnet clasps in a pattern like this, I like to do smaller beads. If your beads are too large and too heavy, you're going to be at a much higher risk of the magnet clasp jumping off. So I haven't had any trouble with this necklace at all, but I did want to throw that out there because when I first started making jewelry, I used magnets with some heavier things and it did not go as well. So just kind of FYI there. All right, and I think I'm going to do this pattern maybe only twice through, and this will be my longer segment because it is filling up nicely. And we're going to once more have the crystal bead in the bead caps, and this is very much the kind of beading where you can listen to your heart. There are no mistakes, just happy little beads. Used to watch the Joy painting every Saturday. So wonderful. But I'm no good at painting, so I use beads. Here we go. All right, there we are. I think, yeah, we'll go through the pattern. Let's see here. I think maybe like half of a time. I don't actually want this to be like super, super long. So we'll do like another half a pattern. I'm going to do a gold bead. This teeny tiny little rose quartz here, because it needs some friends. And let's see. Maybe a little tiny bit more. Maybe I will do the whole thing through again. Just using that small rose quartz chip. We'll make it a little smaller. Okay. Find one more rose quartz that will look good in my bead cap. I like this. I like this one that has a little bit of brown in it. It's a little something different. And we'll just give it a couple tiny little spacer bead friends. And then I'm gonna finish this. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna open up clamshell, string on a crimp bead, and we'll just get this finished off, and then we will attach it with a jump ring here and with a jump ring to our other clasp here. And we only want half of it. There we go. Okay, so we finished this half. Now we're going to put the other clasp half on. I'm going to make a shorter segment. And it is just going to be, let's see, so we're going to have, I think I'm going to make it about here. And then we'll have the other clasp half right there. I think I like that. All right, so to get started, I'm going to do the opposite pattern that I did over there. Well, I'm going to start with the rose quartz in the bead caps. I don't know why. Bead caps always make me think of parentheses. It's silly, but do you know what I mean? Like if you have one bead cap on one side of a bead, it's just so unsatisfying. It's like an open set of parentheses that never gets finished. It makes me sad. So make sure you get both your bead caps there. Finish off your parentheses. I kid. Okay, now we're going to attach this over here. We're going to use 2 jump rings, one right here and one at the end to attach the other clasp half. And then we're done with this piece. And so the way that this is going to connect to your other piece is we're going to pull the magnets apart, and it does matter which half to which. So this half goes over here, this half goes over here, and now you've got one long necklace. And you can see we've sort of staggered where the clasps go by creating 2 different size lengths coming off of the focal here, which I think looks kind of fun when you've got it on. It looks more bohemian. So now we have 2 pieces that can be worn together as one long boho style necklace, or you can take it apart and you can wear the first piece we made as a wrap bracelet. So we're going to add one final piece, and it's going to be more of a razor length bracelet, and it's just going to add some, either an extra bracelet to your look or an extra length so that you can double the necklace over and do a longer strand and shorter strand if you want to wear it that way. So that's our last piece, and we're going to start off, and it's going to be very similar to the first piece that we made. And if you're tired of having to come up with little changes to each segment that you do, you can copy that first one if you want to, or you can just wing it. I am very much in that camp. So here we go. And again, your wrist size will affect the length of this piece overall, and the length of the pieces when you put them together, but this is a super relaxed boho set. It will look great at a number of different lengths. And you can also, if you are just like, I want a super long necklace, you can just make your third piece longer than you even need for a bracelet, and you can use it as an extender for the other necklace too. The triple wrap bracelet piece. So it is totally up to you. There's no wrong way to do this. I'm gonna finish it off here, and then we will attach the clasp halves using jump rings, and we will be done. And then we'll get to play with the set and see what kind of different looks we can devise here. I'm excited. All right, so now we have 3 pieces. We have the bracelet we just made, we have our focal piece, and we have the longer wrap piece as well. So let's mix and match these and make some fun combinations. All right, so in this configuration, we've got all 3 pieces connected together, and I've wrapped it around an extra time for sort of a mock double strand look. All right, so here's probably the simplest look, which is just the extra long wrap strand or wrap bracelet strand worn as a necklace, along with a single strand bracelet. Now, you can absolutely combine them in any way that you want. Now, with the magnets, keep in mind they have a north and south pole, so if you're having trouble getting it to connect, just turn around and use the other half, and it'll go right together. And you can put these 2 together for a super simple, very long strand look. Or if you wanted to, you could just add this fancy focal piece onto either half, either one of the bracelet strands, and then you can have a fun boho focal look and a wrap bracelet. Or you could do a longer necklace, which I believe is what I was wearing in the introduction, and then have the single strand bracelet as well. So there are so many ways to wear this set. I really love the versatility. I love how you get so many looks from just 3 easy pieces. It's super fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We'll have some designs using the March beads coming up next week. Thank you so much for being here, and happy beading! And if you want to make some super quick and easy earrings to match, I have ear 154 here and find 2148, that's these loops, from the Bead Box Bargain store. And you can just open these up and throw the little pendants right on there. It's super easy, but I do think it looks really cute with this set. Kind of has that boho feel. And that is all there is to it. It's totally optional. These aren't items that come in with the kit, but it is a combination that I liked with my necklace, so I wanted to include it for you. And that's absolutely everything. So now you have made a lot of things if you've been following along. Thanks so much for watching.